today we're going to mainly focus on our word problems today, okay? Because we haven't worked on word problems the last 2 or 3 days, okay? But we're going to work on that a little bit today. And let's see if I can get that focused a little better. All right. If you can't see my word problems, you need to let me know right now. Okay? And I can't see thumbs up and down today on most people. So you're going to have to unmute and tell me right now if you can't see my hand and my word problems.
I can.
You can? Okay, if you can, that's great. Anybody that cannot, I need to make sure we try to get it fixed. Okay, so nobody says they can't, so I'm going to go ahead and go on. Okay, so it says Vincent counts 30 dimes and 87 pennies in a bowl. Okay, so I know this is not a bowl, but let's pretend that this is like a glass bowl, and there's 30 dimes in here, and there's 87 pennies in here. Okay?
You're moving out.
All right, again, it's probably the internet today. Okay? If I go in and out, because my screen here at school is not working right, I can only see 1 or 2 people that's moving around. Everybody else is froze. Okay? So we're going to try to get through this, all right? If it does really bad, you could exit the meeting and come back, and that might fix it, okay? But that's your choice, okay? All right. So we've got this jar.
Mr. Bratcher?
Yes?
It just locked me off and locked me back on.
That's okay. Mine does that sometimes. There must be some kind of big load on the internet today, okay? In the county, sometimes it does that, and we'll just work through it. Okay, if it kicked you off, just come back in. Okay, that's fine. All right, we'll work on it. So I've got this. We're going to pretend this is the bowl, and there's 30 dimes in here, and there's 87 pennies in here. Okay, that's a lot of money in this bowl. Okay. Of course, I've got a jar, but I didn't have a bowl right here handy, okay? So, I'm going to go back and I'm going to use my tape, okay? But I'm going to use a little bit different today, okay? I'm going to use 2 pieces of tape. And I'm going to use 2 different colors so you can really see the difference, okay? All right, so I have a blue piece of tape, and I have a kind of white piece of tape, okay? One of those, okay, and I'm going to put, like, there's a start line right here, okay? So they both start at the end, at the same part, okay? And the smallest number was 30 dimes. Okay, so I'm going to use the smallest part of this tape as dimes. I'm going to say these are dimes. Okay, and dimes are worth 10 cents, and those little bitty shiny coins. Okay, and we'll talk about coins a little later. Okay, this year. And then this big one is the pennies. So I'm going to put these are the pennies. Okay. It tells me that there's 30 dimes, and then it tells me there's 87 pennies. All right? So we can see real easily here that 30 is smaller than 87. Okay, and I'm going to make sure it looks smaller. Okay. So the question says, how many more pennies than dimes are in the bowl? It doesn't ask me how many altogether. Okay? It asks me how many more pennies are in, how many more pennies than dimes. Okay? Now, this is kind of hard to explain, especially over you watching me on a video on a computer. Okay, I really wish you was here right now. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why we hadn't done this problem yet until today. Okay, so when I look at my tape, this is 30, this is 87. Okay, and I tried to make it bigger. Okay, if I said that I'm going to add enough dimes to make it as big as the pennies, I'd have to add this much tape, right? Okay. So I'm going to label this as the more. Okay. All right. So, and again, this gets a little bit confusing because this is called a compare problem. Okay. Compare problems are a little bit confusing. All right. So I'm going to compare this bar of 87 with this bar of 30. Okay? We know that 30 is smaller. To make it equal to 87, I would have to make it this much bigger. Okay? So, this little section right here that I'm adding on is what we're going to call the difference. Okay? I'm going to scoot my camera just a little bit so you can see all that I'm doing. Okay? In subtraction, when I have like 5 take away 3 equals something right here, this answer is called the difference. Okay? So when I have a difference here, it means I'm going to have to subtract. I'm trying to find my eraser. There it is, my eraser. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this example one here. Okay, so the answer to a subtraction problem is always called the difference. Okay, so what's my biggest number in this problem? Let's see. Gracie knows. Gracie, unmute and tell me.
87.
87. And we've talked about that when we subtract, the biggest number always goes first. So I'm going to go 87. Okay? And since we're going to find this difference here, I'm going to subtract. Okay? What's the other number that I know? Gracie, you're the only one I can see move, so go ahead and tell me. What's the other number that I know in this problem?
30.
It's 30. Okay? And I don't know right now how many more I would have to add. Okay? So that's going to be my answer. When I take the small number from the big number, it's going to give me this difference right here. Okay? Now, we've been, in the last module, we did make a 10 strategy and we did take from 10 strategy. Okay? But we've got a 30 this time that we're taking away. It was before, this was a single digit number. Okay? So we're going to have to do something a little bit different this time. Okay? We're going, and we didn't do this in Zern. Okay? So I'm kind of showing you a little bit something different. And on my screen, I can see people starting to move around now. So maybe the internet's getting less congested this morning. Okay? So I'm going to take and say that this 87, okay, I'm going to tear it apart or split it into tens and ones. I'm going to put the ones on this side this time, and I'm going to put the tens on this side. Okay? And Bristol, I don't see that Bristol's on here, but she had talked about that when we did that, she called this a tater. All right? So I draw that in there, and it says that I'm going to take 80, and I'm going to take 30 from it. So I'm going to go 80, take away 30. Okay? Now, 80 take away 30, that's some big numbers. Okay? Let's pretend for a minute that it's 8 take away 3. Okay? Because 8 take away 3, if I do something a little bit special, it'll give me the same answer as 80 take away 30. So if I've got 8 and I take 3 away, how much do I get? Touch your nose if you know the answer. I can see a few of you. So it's 8 take away 3. Okay? Ella.
5.
It's okay. Somebody told me 5. All right, I'll take that. So it's 5. But we wasn't talking about just 8 and 3. They were tens numbers, right? So I'm just going to add the 0 back. And look, it still works. Okay? And I'm going to show you right here. I can go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Okay? I want to use my fingers as tens instead of ones. Okay? If I take 3 away, I get 5 tens, which is 50. Okay? All right. So, I've done this part. The only thing that's left is the 7. Okay? That's left over and 50 is left over. So I'm going to put 50 and 7 back together and it makes 57. So 57 was my difference. That's the answer there. So that means that that's the answer that goes right here. Okay? Now, I know this is a lot confusing, especially since you're watching me and you're at home and I'm here. Okay? And I've been very hesitant this week to show this to you. But we need to start working on it. And I know you're going to be confused about it. That's one of the reasons why I'm not putting word problems on exit tickets for you. Okay? I want you just to be exposed to it right now. And then when we start in person in a few weeks, then we'll do some of this stuff together and we'll do a lot of explaining in more detail. Okay? And I know you've got all kinds of questions. Okay? Because you've probably not seen something that looks like this much before. And I understand that completely. Okay? I just wanted you all to start seeing it. So when we start this here at school, then you have seen it before and you've got a little bit of prior knowledge about it. Okay? That's all I'm trying to front load a little bit for when you come back. Okay? That's all I'm doing. And if you're totally confused right now, it's okay. All right? If you're with me some, that's great. That's just a plus for me. Okay? All right. So our answer was 57. Okay? It said how many more pennies than dimes are in the bowl? Well, there's 57 more pennies than dimes in the bowl. Okay? All right. I'm going to stop right here for a second and you ask questions. Maddox, you got a question?
Yeah, I can't see you. I just see a big M.
Okay, so do you see my hand anywhere?
No.
No. All right. At the top of your screen, do you see something in a white bar that looks like a person?
Yeah.
And it's got like a 17 beside it?
Yeah.
All right, click on that.
Yeah.
All right, and can you see anywhere where you can see my hand now?
No.
No. Well, do you see where
Yeah.
it says my name, Scotty Bratcher?
Yes.
All right. There's probably going to be 2 or 3 of those that says Scotty Bratcher on it.
I see you.
You see it now? Okay.
Yeah.
If you click on that picture and push the pen, it should make it big for you.
Okay. Okay, I see it.
All right, good job. All right. So, anybody got a question? And I'm sure you got thousands of questions about what we just did. Okay, but anybody got a question or brave enough to ask me a question about this? And I can't see hands up, so you're just going to have to unmute and tell me and say something.
Mr. Bratcher?
Yes?
How come there's all of those like arrows?
All right. Well, you couldn't see me do that a minute ago, could you?
No.
No. So those arrows are, I'm just trying to show you that this 57 that we come up with the answer. Okay, my original problem was 87 subtract 30. Okay, and I didn't know what the answer was. Well, that's my answer, and I'm showing you that is up here. That's what we called the difference. Okay, so my 57, I could put 57 in here now, and 57 and 30 makes 87. All right. All right, so I know that if you couldn't see me, then this is probably a little bit confusing, or a lot confusing, probably. Okay, but again, I'm just exposing you to this, so when you get back in school and I'm at the board, and we can talk back and forth right in person, then maybe it'll go a little bit better. Okay, I don't expect you to understand this today, right now. I don't expect that at all. Okay. It'll take time for us to do. What we've been doing before with one piece of tape, I think most people kind of understood that. But now we're doing a compare problem, and it's a lot harder to think about. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Bratcher?
Yeah. I didn't hear you. You're cutting in and out. I think it kicked him off. Uh-oh. All right. Anybody else got a question or comment or anything about this? Hey, I see Gracie's shaking her head. There's only 2 or 3 people that I can see move around. But give me a thumbs up if you think this is pretty confusing.
Mr. Bratcher?
Yeah, I give my thumbs up too. Okay. Yes, Mannix.
I actually logged off, but I said I might have to leave.
Okay, that's fine.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
All right, so I agree. This is confusing. Okay, it's going to take a lot of practice for us to get this. Okay, it's going to take all year long for us to understand how to do this. For you all to be able to do it by yourself. Okay. So I do not expect you to understand it right now. I just wanted to show it to you. Okay. All right. The main thing is we need to know that the answer to a subtraction problem is called a difference. Okay. And you'll hear me say that a lot this year.